So last time we were talking about the origins of pointillism, and specifically pointillism as a sub-movement of Post-Impressionism. And we have these questions of how can the artist use paint to portray light? How does light affect color as it's perceived by our eyes? And pointillism was a neo-impressionist approach to these questions based on pixelated dots of color that, when viewed collectively, would really allow our eyes to compose the picture that was in front of us. Now, pointillism is a technique. Divisionism is not so much a technique as it is what I'm going to call an aesthetic. And that distinction is maybe a little bit needlessly esoteric, but I would say that a technique is a manner of actually applying paint to a canvas, whereas an aesthetic is a means of creating a composition. It's a means of creating an image. And this is based on Signac's own distinction between his style of divisionism, which is what we see in this painting, and Seurat's pointillism. So this term divisionism did actually come from Signac himself, the French neo-impressionist. It's based on these broader, almost rectangular strokes of paint that are applied directly to the canvas. And you can see them here, right? Just little rectangular brush strokes of paint. And what I really like about this style is that it avoids the muddiness that we sometimes get from pointillism, and it really emphasizes the brilliance of the color. So look at some of these broad, very vibrant brush strokes. It's much bolder than pointillism, but you can see how these two ideas, pointillism versus divisionism, are very closely related in terms of what they're trying to accomplish. But divisionism in particular, I think, really gives the image a sense of movement. And this is really in direct opposition to pointillism, where we talked about Seurat's bathers at Asnières and then the island of Archanjat. Pointillism is used to convey this very kind of serene, calm, static look to the painting. But here, you can almost see kind of the undulating waves here as the wind begins to pick up. You can see how the wind is beginning to push the sailboat. And particularly, look at the clouds. You can see the clouds kind of rolling in on the horizon. And this spiral type effect here of the storm clouds moving in reminds me very much of Van Gogh's Starry Night. And that was painted in, I want to say that was 1889. And this, Saint-Tropez, The Storm, by Signac, was from 1895. So I'm not sure if Signac had seen Van Gogh's Starry Night, but the way that they paint the stormy skyline, to me, they're very similar to one another. I mentioned lighting in the beginning, and this, of course, was something that was very important in Impressionism as well. Where does the light come from in this painting? Can you figure it out? It's coming from behind the viewer, from behind you, so it's coming in like this. And the reason that we know that is we can see the shoreline here is illuminated. See how the water is a bit, we have more white and sort of aqua in here. And then the obvious giveaway is that these buildings are very illuminated. You can see how bright white they all look, as if the light was coming in this way. So we have sort of a divisionism in the manner in which the paint is applied to the canvas, and also in terms of the weather, really. So we have sunlight behind us, and then the storm is here rolling in front of us. Signac's color palette is also much more vibrant and variegated than Seurat's, and this is a good opportunity to talk about non-mimetic use of color, that is, color that's used for visual effect to give an impression as opposed to the actual color that we would expect to see in reality. So that's why we see a lot of the oranges, okay, and the purplish colors in the sky. Now, we often link the term Neo-Impressionism with Post-Impressionism. It's not really correct to conflate those terms. So Neo-Impressionism is a sub-movement within Post-Impressionism that describes the style of the painters that we've been looking at these past 2 weeks, like Seurat and Signac. But the style of both types of painting, really of Neo-Impressionism and then this broader term of Post-Impressionism, draw their inspiration and are really in the same spirit as Impressionism, as the movement that had come before. The Post-Impressionists, just like the Impressionists, painted outside. They were very interested in lighting, how images would appear to the viewer, rather than how they appeared in physical reality, how to convey ambiance. But what the Post-Impressionists did, it's specifically the Neo-Impressionists, is that they refined Impressionism with this emphasis on optical theory and perception, and that's what makes them particularly exceptional in art history. All right, next time we're going to be looking at a Caravaggio, I believe. So until then, take care.